Hello and welcome to another video from the only channel that you need to not only survive the current apocalypse but actually enjoy it. And today's video is going to be a walk around tour of my property again. It hasn't been long since we did the last one, but a lot of things have taken place. And in fact, one of the things that's taken place is that I've been sleeping in the tent without a mattress and my back feels better than it's felt in forever. It used to be that I got a very short window of opportunity to come work out in the woods, and then the rest of my time was spent back and forth between my bed and my recliner and walking around, sleeping in 1 hour shifts. But now, for whatever reason, I can lay down in this tent and sleep 9 hours in a row sometimes, usually around 6, but 6, 7, 8, or 9 hours a night straight. And on the nights when I can't get out here and I sleep up on the porch, I'm back to sleeping in 1 hour shifts. So something about sleeping in this tent allows me to feel a whole lot better than I have in a long time, probably since I have been 18 years old. Anyway, I did a video a while back where I talked about some of the upcoming projects that I would be doing. And several people wrote and said, could you do some more tours of your woods? We really like tours of your woods. And guess what? I'm working on the woods so much that it actually makes sense that I do a video like that now. One of the projects I wanted to do ever since I moved here was to clear my property line. The goal has always been to be able to stand at one corner of my property and see the other corners of my property. So here is the actual corner of my property. This everything over there belongs to somebody else. Everything over there belongs to somebody else. So I'm going to walk over here and show you some of the other markers because you may not be able to see them in the camera, but you'll be able to see me. This is my property line. So we've really actually got a lot done so far, and it continues on down. It just looks like it isn't because of this big brush pile, but we're going to burn that tomorrow, and there'll be a whole lot clearer view. I still got a lot to do, but it will get done. And here's another one. Now, my property is about 200 feet this away, and with the sun behind us, it's very difficult for you to see me, I'm sure. So we'll take the camera down to that end and walk my property. All right, this massive oak is on my property line. Now, on this side, only about a foot of it's on my line, and that side, about 4 foot of it is on line. I'm talking about the distance across the trunk there. So all of this is someone else's property, but I'll probably clear a pretty wide swath right through there for a couple of reasons. One, the trees are so beautiful that it would just be nice to be able to come up here and just see this vista without all this debris in the way. And also because using Google Maps, you can determine where your property marker is supposed to be. See, my property marker is supposed to be here, but I cannot locate it. But on Google Maps, you can find your property line and right click, and it has a drop down menu that says measure distance. Well, you can take and measure distance from one end of the property line to the other, and it'll leave a dark line there. So then when you click on satellite view, it gives you a perfect view of exactly where your property line is on a satellite, from a satellite. So you can see all the trees and stuff. And down there is a tree that is right exactly on the property line. So to find my marker here, all I have to do is take a tape measure back to where the other marker is and go to that precise point on that tree, and then come back over here and drive me a piece of rebar in. I'm hoping when I go to drive in the new rebar, I'll find the old rebar, because there was rebar here at one time. Right now, I am standing exactly on my property line, and I can't walk down it because all of this stuff is in the way. But the plan is to clear everything out. And I originally said 15 feet, but over here it's a little bit different. Since we've got these massive oaks, I actually want to clear right to the edge of these oak trees over to where the wood starts again. That way I got a nice clear little bit of a lawn under this tree. And I don't think my neighbor will mind. They're hippies. I get along really good with them. In fact, they're older than me, so I was going to see if they wanted me to cut them a trail back here so they can come sit. I'm going to put a picnic table here. And I figure, you know, they might as well enjoy it too. His wife really, really loves these trees. And I think it would really make her feel good to see them cleaned up. All right, we're going to walk the property line. Okay, this tree right here is right on the line. That's why it's got an orange ribbon on it. Another really odd thing, I was out here working, and this tree that's fallen down was on the property line. And one day I come out and I'm sighting my line. I couldn't find the tree. And I walked around and there it was, just laid over. But it had been damaged in the hurricane. And in fact, there's another one that fell the other direction that was damaged in the hurricane. So I may try to do something about getting those out of here. Got a neighbor with a fireplace that said he'll come cut it up if the people give him permission. But that's not my land. Can't just drive over there and start cutting somebody's tree up without asking them. All right, this is my property line. And as you can see, I've done quite a bit of work in here. But there's still quite a bit to go. I want to get all this cleared out. Like I say, about 15 feet on either side so I can stand at one end and see the marker at the other end. Walking through somebody's trash pile from the 1950s. This tree I was originally thinking would be a good candidate for burning. In other words, just stack my fire pile right there and light it up. It would just glow for a few days and get smaller and smaller and smaller till all the bits and pieces fell down. I've done that before. But I've decided this tree is really, really hard. It would be a good foundation for a tree house someday, perhaps. But I'm going to have to get rid of all this stuff first. Here's the other side of that tree. And apparently this used to be somebody's idea of a property corner, because here is 3 posts at a rather odd angle. But apparently there was a fence here at one time, because this is all barbed wire. And it looks like it's usable if I could just burn this stuff out, maybe put a few light things on there and set it on fire and see if it'll burn down to where I can free this up. I might use it somewhere around here. It's still shiny, you know, it's galvanized barbed wire. But this was here when I got here, and it was overgrown then. So it's been here at least 30 years. Here's the tree I was standing by at the end of that last clip. And that's my property marker. But see, all this has to be cleaned out for me to have a good clear sight through here. This is where my camera was mounted earlier. There's a marker. And there's a marker. There's my tripod. All right, when I said that I was going to clear my property lines all the way from corner to corner, there is one exception. This particular corner, going this way, borders my neighbor's property, and he only has an acre, and it's a very, very long, skinny acre, meaning that his house is right up against the property line. So if I clear everything on that side all the way down to his house, what happens is his house ends up being in my face. And I really don't want that. I want my privacy. And if you notice, as we turn around, you can't see any structures from any of my neighbors, even though they're there. There's a house over here, and there's a house over there. And then there's my house here, and my neighbor's house here. And if you go through these woods, there's another house over there. Now, in the spring, all of that is completely wooded. It's only right now that you get little glimpses of other structures out here, and I'll show you what I mean. From this bridge, which is part of my woods, you can clearly see my neighbor's shed and his house and my house, but that's because it is the end of winter. A couple of weeks into spring, that'll all disappear because of new growth. And I've got another place back here that's in a similar situation. Now there's my neighbor's barn. If we look right through there, you can actually see his house. But those structures were both damaged so badly in Hurricane Katrina that when they went to rebuild, it was just easier for them to get a modular home put in. And so that's what they did. I haven't seen anybody back at either of these structures since the hurricane. And in fact, this is the same as up front. In the springtime, those two buildings will disappear. Normally, in the winter, I hurt so bad that there's not much I can do. So they're not going to see me out here planting trees or pruning trees. And I also wear clothing in the winter, so that's not an issue. But in the summer, those structures will disappear. I actually had plans of putting my tent up right here when I first got the thing, because this area is really, really secluded. It's got this cluster of oaks right here. It's high and dry. And so I started making a trail from my property over there to here. But one day when I was on my property, I looked up and saw someone standing here. I had no idea that this was still clear enough that you could walk from here to my neighbor's house. I think it was his son-in-law just standing out here. And then that's when I realized that all of this has to stay. Has to be some kind of barrier between me and my neighbor. Although I do have plans on asking him if he wants me to cut him a nice clean trail back to my picnic area, so he and I can just walk up there and sit down and talk every now and then. A few weeks ago, this tree was right on the edge of what was cleared. So all of this right here has been cleared in just a matter of weeks. Now, they did have a way to walk around the tree, and you can go back in the old videos and see that. But the woods actually did come out to where that log is right there. We'll show it from the other angle in a minute. But I plan on clearing around all three of these trees. So that tree over there, and this tree right here, and of course the one I've already cleared around. So I'm going to show you what this looks like from the back side. Here is where the woods start today. And the logs that you see on the ground here are where they were about 2 weeks ago. So I've cleared all the way from there to there. I've got to do some fine tuning, but for the time being, we're just going to do the rough stuff. Get as much of that stuff out of the way as possible to be able to get a clear view of that oak over there from right here. Now I'm going to show you how I've cleared up to it from the other side of the tree. Here's the back side of that third tree, the one farthest from my lot. Just 2 weeks ago, you could not see this tree here. You could look up and you could see that there was oak leaves over your head, and you knew they were coming from that direction, but you couldn't see the actual tree itself. I've done a lot of clearing, and that's what all this debris is about. Now, something really strange that happened to me when I started this project is my dog started barking. So I went up front to see what was going on, and it was an older couple walking in my yard, and they asked me, "Do you know where this property is?" And I had to show them, "This is your property." There's no way to hide when you're out somewheres cutting down trees on somebody's property that you're cutting down trees on their property. Especially hard to hide a tent. It takes me about 4 hours to set that thing up minimum and take it down. And so they were a little curious about that, but they didn't say anything to me about it. I guess because they realize I'm a potential customer, but they want to sell this property. So anyways, we'll see how that works out. While we were talking, I told them I was going to keep on clearing the land until somebody decided to do something with it, and the man said, "Go ahead. This is fantastic. We love how you've taken care of this." So I really, even though I was still not at ease, and even now I'm not, it really, really bothers me that somebody caught me on their land doing all this. The trees you're looking at right now belong to me. This tree is just partially mine. This little bitty piece over here belongs to me on that side, and the rest of the tree belongs to the people that caught me out here doing this stuff. And these two trees belong to them. Now I'm going to show you the entire property that belongs to my neighbors. If you've watched any of my videos about walking around in the woods, then you're probably familiar with this. This is the power lines that I'll be under sometimes in some of my videos. Where that double tower is, there's another one right after that, and another one right after that. I don't know if you'll be able to see that with this wide angle lens. But here's that oak tree we were just looking at. So it's just that close to these power lines. In fact, the land that they own is under the power lines. All the way over to the woods belongs to those people. And then there's a skinny strip right here. Now, at my end, it's about 150 feet wide. But at the other end, it's about 100 feet wide. So if anyone bought that property, they would be very obviously building up here under these oak trees. This is a closer look at that property, how it's laid out. It holds about 2 feet of water in a lot of places. It's 5 acres, 2.5 are under the power lines, 2.5 are in the woods, but of the 2.5 that are in the woods, 2 acres look like this, because this really is a swamp. And this area is rated R1, which means highest priority residential. You can't build factories or anything out here. You only build houses. And according to our building codes, if you build a house, you have to pave your driveway. And since my gravel road is not a dedicated road, the driveway would have to go all the way down there. So that's like close to $500,000 at least, just to make a driveway to get to that piece of land. And there really is only a very small piece, like a half of an acre of dry ground up there, maybe an acre. So I still feel pretty secure that no one's going to buy this. But I talked to the people, I told them the reasons I couldn't buy it and how much money I had, and we'll just have to see if that works out. I'd love to have it. Well, if you're one of the people that likes my property tours, I hope you like that one. And just know that there's going to be a whole lot more, because I'm really in the zone right now. I've been doing so much, and I'm really enjoying it, and I'm not hurting too bad. And I plan on continuing as long as I can, or until I get this project done. Now, the bad news is that if you come here just looking for videos about making a cast net, well, I probably ain't going to have time to do any of those for a while. And if you came here looking for a Bible video, those will come up, but I'm spending so much time out here that I'm really not dedicating a whole lot of time to writing scripts for the next Bible series. But anyway, a lot of my subscribers are end of the world people, or preppers, that kind of thing, because they believe that our society is coming to a rather disastrous end, and they may be right. I don't know just how bad things will get before they get better, but if people that believe that everything is going to go bad are correct, you need something like this. I don't believe in getting in a car and driving 1,000 miles to bug out. I really think the best way to bug out is to pick up your stuff and walk into your backyard. Now, while the police are going around picking people up, in general, I think they're going to do that at the people's houses. If they go to a house, which my house is about 200 feet that way, if they go to a house and there ain't nobody home, they may leave somebody to watch the house or whatever, but they're probably not going to wander around out in the woods around the house. Maybe they will. Maybe they'll fly over with a helicopter. But if you've already got a nice place like this set up, with a lot of nice little tucked away niches that you can hide in, you're probably going to do a whole lot better than somebody that ain't got nothing but a house and a lawn. In any case, if you don't want to survive, now listen to me.